722 here at Big 550 KTRS. If you are a fan of sports, if you're a fan of horse racing, and you're not listening to our next guest, shame on you. You're missing some of the best programming here in St. Louis. He's the best. Jay Randolph Sr. is our horse racing guru, and he talks to us now about the Preakness. Good morning, Mr. Randolph.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. You got the show tonight?
Yes, at 6:30 tonight we'll have our Preakness handicapping seminar. The real guru, as you would say, Doug Nackman joins me, and hopefully he'll be able to come up with some kind of scenario that might win our listeners and friends a little money. It's going to be tough with a very small field and some very short prices, but it's an interesting Preakness for no other reason that the winner of this race tomorrow will possibly have a shot at the Triple Crown for the first time in 37 years. They've made American Pharaoh, the winner in the Kentucky Derby, the favorite. And the horse should be the favorite, I think. Very nice performance at Churchill Downs 2 weeks ago, and we'll see how it goes. But it's a relatively short field, only 8 horses going to the post, and we're at Churchill Downs with 18 in the starting gate. It was a situation where you could get some traffic problems, and some horses did, but. American Pharaoh has been made the favorite. We'll see what the public does tomorrow. Dortmund, who finished third and led most of the way at Churchill Downs, I think will probably be the second choice. And then you've got Firing Line that came on and ran a very nice race with 52-year-old Gary Stevens in the irons. This is a horse that was very impressive also, but the other horses did not run at Churchill Downs, and it'll be interesting to see just how it goes. Mr. Z is an interesting situation. Very fascinating to me. His owner, Mr. Zayat, decided he did run him in the Derby, but he was not going to run him maybe until the Belmont Stakes in 3 weeks. But all of a sudden, Calumet Farms, a very famous racing community in Kentucky, they bought this horse and entered him in the Preakness, and he's got the number 3 position in the starting gate, and it's going to be very interesting because Dwayne Lucas, who's had so much success over the years, McGraw, has got a chance maybe with that horse. I don't understand why the horse is in, but he's running.
Yeah. All right, so why is it, oh, wise one, Jay Randolph, that for years the favorite never won at the Derby, and now for the last couple of years we've had the favorite win, including last week or last time with this American Pharaoh? Well,
things go in cycles, and we've had favorites look pretty good. If you break it down over the years, probably a certain amount, say 40% of the favorites have won, 20% of the long shots have won, and then the rest has been in the middle. The situation with these 3-year-old horses who are running in these huge stakes for the first time, they're just coming into their own, and a 3-year-old can develop, and his whole makeup and ability can change almost overnight or in a week. So you really can't, Dortmund coming into the Kentucky Derby was undefeated. And this horse, American Pharaoh, had run a magnificent race at Arkansas to win the Arkansas Derby. And those were the two that people were focusing on because, if you're a handicapper and you look at the past performances, that's where the action should come from, and it did. Now, tomorrow, who knows? I think certainly that the 3 favorites are going to be battling again, but somebody might come out of this pack tomorrow and beat them. And as we like to say, when you go to Maryland, you have a few new shooters, and there are a few shooters in here that we really don't know much about. They have very modest backgrounds and have really not won that many races, but we'll see what happens. It's not so much, I think, at the Preakness, the luck of the draw, and with 8 horses this year. there shouldn't be a lot of traffic problems.
Well, what about
My
Farrow?
guess is,
What about Farrow coming out of the first gate? Was that
well, that doesn't bother me nearly. It would bother me tremendously if it was at Churchill Downs.
okay?
But there are only 7 other horses in here, so I really don't think that the post position. I know that Bob Baffert is not happy with it, and he's got to talk about something. But I wouldn't think that he's that upset about American Pharoah. And Dortmund's right next to him, and then you've got firing lines stuck all the way on the outside. But all the way on the outside is only 8 deep, and at the Kentucky Derby it was 18 deep. So it's a different race completely. A little shorter race than the Derby, a little sharper turns at Pimlico. And it should, I say, the big interest is can American Pharoah win tomorrow? If he does, we're going to have the most exciting Triple Crown race be just that when we come up to the Belmont in 3 weeks.
You betcha. All right. Jay Randolph Sr. tonight starting at 6:30. You'll get all the experts with him and Doug Nachman. Mr. Randolph, always a pleasure. Good to hear your voice, and we'll hear you tonight on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, you sound very good for this time in the morning.
So do you, sir. Thanks. Talk to you later. 7:28 here, Big 550 KTRS. Boy, his voice just brings you back to being 10 years old. It's just a legendary voice.